makes peace and love. Peace and love.
That's like the most important thing. I'm sure you agree with me. Like, I want to provide value to my 10 listeners.
No, it all starts with that. As long as the quality over quantity first, and then before you know it, that's how it all starts.
And like, I mean, I've mentioned this every podcast. Said like, this is been it's been a crazy year. It was a crazy year last year, and it forced me to like, just to look at other things differently. You know what I mean? Yes. Like podcast. Like I'm daily vlogging on YouTube now. It's just.
Yes.
We were supposed to like, there was all this growth we were supposed to experience. I'm pretty sure you've experienced the same thing with your company. Like, if it was normal times, we would have opened up already like 2 to 3 stores already.
Yes, sir.
And my body was just in motion, you know, and I was just itching to do something.
Yes. I think that was the thing about 2020 was like we had big goals and visions and we want to execute it. Then this whole thing comes about, right? And I think for me, it was a humbling experience because I'm like, beginning of the year, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to execute. I think for me now, I'm going to take this for the rest of my life, knowing that in life, it's not always going to be the way you want it, and you got to be able to adjust as you go. I think that's the key thing, is being versatile and being adaptable to what it is. And I think that's the key thing too, because now I'm realizing what's important in my business and what's not. I had to cut out certain things that didn't make sense. So, my dad always says, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. So I had to really look hard on things that didn't make money, and it was hard. And I had to cut out people too. That meant like some people that I'm probably cool with, but was it providing profit in a business sense? But it wasn't. So I had to cut out the hard decisions, right? I think 2020 was a good thing for me, in a way, a good cleansing, a detox in my business, so to speak, because I was forced to make do and go back to basics, as if we were operating we were in a garage. Like, we started off, 2010, just with 2 machines in a garage. And I think, having that same mentality and hunger, working 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and, oftentimes when you experience certain type of success, and it keeps piling up and over momentum, kind of gives you a little bit of a pride and kind of makes you realize, oh man, I'm not making mistakes, so I'm cool with it. I think 2020 was a good thing for me, because now I had to really go back to basics, as if we were operating and we were in a garage where every penny counts. Now every hour counts. Every new client counts. It's not like I can't do the shortcuts no more. And I think it's a good thing. And that's the only way I'm going to look at it. It's a positive learning experience. It's hard to swallow at times, and it's hard to know that, but it's like, now that moving to 2021, I'm happy it kind of did, because now I'm, so to speak, cleansing.
Yes.
Taking out the bad stuff and now leaning out to what's good to the business. Yeah.
I agree. No, I agree with you 100%. It's funny you bring that up, because, I was having a tough conversation just before I got here, and it was revolving around business or my businesses.
Yes.
And, I think that's exactly what I needed to hear, because I'm sure last year you've had a way more tough conversations than ever before, right?
Yes, sir.
And you said you've had to get rid of people.
Yes.
Fortunately, we haven't had to, but we've thought we've had to, and just thinking about it, it's sad, because
of course,
we've talked before. Like, you consider your staff to be your family.
Yes, sir. That's right.
And just even the thought about, like, man, am I going to be able to like house my people?
That's
and
right.
it's just another reason why, like, I'm super excited. Not super excited, but like, just I'm glad that I'm doing this, because I get to talk to people who are in the game.
Yes, sir.
And before the podcast, and before, when we were all riding high, it was exactly what you said. We were just kind of cruising, like, nothing was going to stop us.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's just good to hear, like, other people say that. Like,
And I think for us, just coming out of 2020 and still be here, that already is a blessing. And now you just build from that. And again, like I said, like, I think about it back in 2008 when the housing market crashed.
Yes.
Right. I mean, that's when our company started 2010. So it was in the midst of banks were not providing loans as much. to small businesses, so it was harder to start. But I think you go back again to the basics is, being willing to work hard and do the extra hours because it's your company. And I think that's the difference between owning a company and just working for a company. No offense to the employees, but if you own the company and you started off from the ground up, from the garage, you're willing to do the dirty work. It's because it's the success depends on you. And I think that's the best analogy for me is like the game-winning shot. That pressure is on you daily. And if you live that life like that, fourth quarter life, 2 minutes left kind of life, for me that's kind of like now that what 2020 showed me was like I gotta live in a life where it's in a business sense. It's 2 minutes left. It's tied. Fourth quarter. Every second counts. Every penny counts. Everybody counts. Every client counts. Every phone call counts. Every gas mileage counts. And if you have that mentality, I think you could build better from that. And before, seriously, I mean, when we started having growth, I began to kind of be loosened up. But I think this is really good for me now as a company, for us as a management, because now we're realizing, man, what are the essentials?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's really important about your business? Yeah. It's crazy how I think almost every small business owner is asking themselves this right now is like, fuck, dude, what was I doing before? Why was I doing these things?
Yes,
So
that's right.
You're right. There's positives that come out of this.
Yes.
But before we move any further, we
sir.
just jumped into it.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking to Sid Cortez of SKZ Vending.
Yes.
It's exactly what you think it is. He owns a vending machine company, which is why I'm super excited to have you, brother, because just the fact that you could turn this vending machine empire into what it is today from where you started as in a garage is such an interesting thing to me. I love just the idea of being able to grow something. I keep on talking about it. It's a common thing, growing something from something so small into something big. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, I smoked weed for the first time in a long time because I used to be a really big connoisseur of weed a long time ago, but I stopped because I feel like I was, blah blah blah. I stopped, but my little brother, he grew this little plant. He said, I'm gonna grow some weed, and he grew it with his hands, and it turned into this joint. And I was like, man, that's amazing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to smoke weed because you fucking grew that. I really appreciated it.
Hey, that takes effort, bro.
Yeah. Yes, dude. I tried to grow some weed last year and someone stole that shit. I was so mad. So, but anyways, we're getting, okay. So I got my boy, Sid, here.
Yes,
we went to high school together.
Yes, sir.
So even more exciting is the fact that we're both from the Solano area, and here we are. We're doing our thing. We never really truly went away, or we left. Yeah, go Vandin.
You set the pace.
Exactly.
You set the
No,
pace.
I had a good time at Vandin, dude. I'm not gonna lie. My experience there was good. It was good. So
After Vandin, where did you go to Sac State?
nah, man, I went to Solano for 2 years,
for
and
real?
then I went to Sac State.
Because you had the best parties back in Sac.
Oh, dude, I was waiting for someone to bring that up.
FYSR, you can edit that out.
No, let's talk about it. Let's fucking talk about it. I've been waiting for somebody to bring that up, dude.
Oh my goodness.
That was the best part of college, man.
Oh goodness.
And please forgive me. I didn't even realize you were there. That's how many people we filled that house
Bro,
with.
it's okay, and I think it's, the liquid courage, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Working.
Could you imagine throwing a party like that now? We'd get shut down by the cops.
Oh no way, man.
There was 100+ people in one.
And I think there was a
5-bedroom
fight too
house.
back.
Oh, every time. One fight.
There was fighting on the porch. Was not a porch area where the grass area was, and then the neighbor.
Oh, you
came
were
out.
there for that one?
Yes, brother, man. It was that party. And then the neighbor came in.
Yeah.
And then he had to call the cops.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to mention names, but we were carrying this other guy who's very close to us because he was done. And we went home, and I told myself, my goodness, what a ride.
Oh, yeah, because you were homies with G-Bread.
Yeah.
That's why oh, yeah, dude, that party was so crazy. That'll be a different podcast because we're here to talk about business. Oh,
We're
man.
talking about business. We're talking about business.
But that was a fun time.
That was 10 years ago or so.
Oh, my God. No, more than 10 years
More than
ago.
10 years?
More than 10 years.
Oh,
I graduated in 2009, so
Oh, wow.
that's...
But Vandin 2004, right?
yeah. Oh, dude, we're showing our age, man.
Oh, sorry.
I just turned
You can
35.
edit that
No,
out.
it's okay. I'm proud to be 35, dude. Okay, Sid. So, this is a fun podcast already, dude. So, we've known each other for a long time now. Wow. So when did you come to the States?
We came here in '99.
Okay.
From the Philippines, and then we went to Vallejo. That's where we settled first, and then Springstown Middle School. If somebody's watching,
Springstown.
It's from Springstown.
Yeah.
We were known for like the wrestlers. That's why when I went to Vending, I went to wrestling and all that stuff. But you know, the whole idea of like being an immigrant, you know, coming here really was, I guess, more of a realizing that it's like winning the lottery. Because, you know, coming from the Philippines, right, from the perspective of an immigrant, your key thing was like, oh man, I want to go to America because I want to have a better life.
Yes.
Coming here and then having hot water come out of the faucet was like amazing for me enough, because I remember we had to like get water and, you know, in the province, and you had to like go walk and get it from the well and all that stuff. So just being here, like having that kind of small luxury like that, like hot water, is like big thing for me. And then, and you have that mentality of how grateful you are. I think having that, the sense of like, man, I just won the lottery. We're talking about Mega Millions. I think there's Mega Millions going on right now. But I think for me, immigrating here, it was exciting, but also an opportunity. That's where the whole entrepreneurial spirit came in, right? Was because like this is the land of opportunity, yeah, that kind of mindset. So, and I thank my parents for that. Honestly, they're the ones that's, you know, you probably know this. Having immigrant parents, they always instill to you, go get an education, do your thing. And I think from the very first time I did that, like, you know, I did the whole being an A student and going to college. I went to Berkeley and all that. But then I soon realized, like, the job, you know, the job market and all that, it was not for me at that point, you know, in my life. As like, I need to do something that's going to be where I could build something for my future, that I could leave something behind for my future children. Now that I have a daughter, like, that's the more the reason for me. I got to work hard and make this happen, because I want this, at least something for her, you know, to get something that I'm working hard for. But yeah, anyways, I kind of went off on tangent.
That's okay.
But that's the whole idea of, for me, wanting to create a business, right? So that, you know, I could, you know, hire people that are within our community, people that I know. I could help people that needs jobs that I know, and then also serve the community at the same time, and also give something, leave behind something of good for my daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic, before we move on, so you went to UC Berkeley.
Yes, sir.
A world-renowned school. Like, seriously, that's a fucking hard college to get into. I guess my first question is, was it, what did you go to, what did you what did you get your degree in?
Major.
Yeah.
For the first 2 years, I did not know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
For the longest time, even before Berkeley, I thought I was going to become a nurse, because, you know, Joe Coy, everybody was a nurse in my family. So I was like, but I was like, no way, man. That's a lot of poop and blood. I can't do that. So I went to Berkeley, and I did the poli sci because I wanted to become a lawyer. I wanted to like do something with immigration, you know, being idealistic. I wanted to, you know, coming from that point of view of being an immigrant, having to go through the hurdles of immigration and the visas and all that. I said, I want to be an advocate of that sort. And then I realized, you know, working through that, working in a law firm, I said to myself, this is not me. And I think it's key to know that, like early on, knowing that it's not for you. And it was devastating for me in the beginning, but it was also freeing at the same time, knowing that it wasn't for me. And it was scary too, because I was like, oh crap, 4 years have gone. I'm realized this is not for me. Where do I go from now? So that was 2010. And my dad was like, yo, I think we may have something that we could do. You want to do some vending machines? Because he did karaoke machines back in the Philippines. You know,
Yeah.
people love to sing, and that's in our culture. And I was like, are you serious right now? I was like, sure, why not? Let's just do it. And I'll go, you know, a little shameless plug on my book. I'll talk more in detail about how that whole story came about. But pretty much he told me, let's just do it. And, you know, long story short, he came into this, you know, there's one of those things that you see in the hotels, like a little seminar about vending machines. It came about to be like a pyramid scheme or whatnot. And then they just got money from, you know, elderly or the seniors. And we ended up having 2 vending machines, and we didn't know how to go about it. So from that point, we were like, oh gosh, we're stuck with 2 vending machines. What are we going to do? And my dad was like, well, let's just make it work. And I think from that moment of like, not knowing anything and figuring out, oh God, we invested X amount of money already, and just get on with it. It was scary, but it was also like the same time freeing for us, because it was like, we got to learn this crap. You know? I mean, we got to learn how to install this. We got to learn how it works. everything from the ins and out of the business. And we had a lot of failures, like I want to say in the first 3 years, but it was that sweat equity, that like pain equity, as I say. There's a lot of heartaches and frustrations that I just wanted to give up, that kind of helped us actually now to get to that, because now we were forced to learn everything from the mechanics, from the marketing side, everything. Because we were like, it was a scam, bro. Like one of those things that you see, like, oh yeah, it's a business, own a vending machine.
Yeah.
And they were like selling it to older folks, and being immigrant, you want to have a good opportunity for your life. And then suddenly it was all a scam, and we were like, oh gosh, what the heck happened? And I think now this portion of the business that we have now is like really teaching people and coaching people. That's where that's where the other side of our business, where I actually go in detail in helping, in our SKZ Vending Club. I actually have myself and my brother coach people how to do their own vending business.
Yeah.
Because I know how it feels to like have a machine in your garage and not know how to install it, and it just sitting there,
Yeah, it's a shitty feeling.
Dude.
No,
Being scam sucks, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've never been scammed, but like the fact that like, you make this huge investment.
Yes.
And then you just stare at it every day.
Oh yes, bro. It sucks.
Oh man, it's like it calls your soul, right? Like, I'm taking your money. I'm taking your money.
Bro.
Oh, I know exactly what that feels like, man.
And you know what? One of the first accounts that we had was Vending, bro.
Oh no way.
That's like a funny story. I had to like, yo, Mr. Principal, you remember me? I was class of 06. You guys needed a vending machine. And it was out of desperation. And I think out of desperation, I think something comes out of great, because survivor mentality comes out. Like, I was staring at 2 vending machines at the garage. And I was like, and my dad's all, he's like very, very, very like, what should I say, angry and also like sad. So I couldn't stand that, bro. So I had to go out there and figure out something. So yeah, the first 2 machines that we installed was actually from people that I knew. And I think that's a testament.
Was it still McCabe at the time? Was it still the
McCabe.
principal?
No, it was, I think, Lyles. I think it was Lyles.
I have no idea who that is, but you went straight to the principal,
Yeah,
huh?
man, I went straight at him. Yo, I was an old Academica wrestler. I didn't know how marketing worked back in the day.
Yeah.
I didn't know what real marketing worked, but I was just came out of with my heart and said, yo, man, you guys need a vending machine. I used to be a student here. And yeah, we have a machine until now.
Oh, and he said yeah?
Huh?
He said yes?
He said yes. I was like, and I think, just not being able to say and allow him to say no.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, man. Funny story. Wow.
So I guess, well, what I was going to ask you, so it wasn't a big issue for your parents and yourself when you decided, fuck this degree.
Oh man,
was it a big issue for you? Because how long were you at Berkeley for?
I tried to finish it off, man, but I graduated in 3 years because I went to summer school.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You're so smart.
No,
you are. You're one of the smartest people I know.
No, I'm not
sorry,
smart,
I didn't mean to sound condescending.
Bro.
I actually meant that. I'm so sorry. I really meant. Dude.
I just work hard, bro.
So
See, here's the thing, by the way.
Dude.
I just work hard.
You got a big brain.
No, bro. I just work hard, bro. Like, I told myself, if I stayed another year, it's the next amount of tuition fee again. So I might as well finish this damn thing. And in summer school was more easier because everything's condensed and all the teachers suck. What I mean by that, they're easy.
Yes.
Because they just want to get it done too.
Yeah.
Like, it's a summer job for them. So I figured I'm going to get it all done in 3 years because I wanted to work because, again, I'm the eldest. Being Filipino, you know this. Being one of the eldest, I have to, help with the family. So that was the pressure for me. I wanted to get out of there, be in a job market. And, 2008 came. And when I graduated, it was hard for a new graduate to get a job at that time. So I think that's where business came in and this whole vending machine venture.
Okay.
It was like, it was my only option at that point because now my dad thought it was a great option. Vending machine turned out a scam. And I told myself, well, we just have to turn this lemon to a lemonade, man. I mean, we have 2 vending machines. Let's just place it and just go from here. And from then on, it's just, because I depended on it. That was the thing that was, working for me at that time. I just built from there. And before you know it, where we are now,
yeah.
10 plus years later. Yeah.
Dude, I see why you wrote a book now. We haven't talked much about your story, but it's very interesting. One thing you've brought up a lot just in these past like 15 minutes is desperation. And it's funny because like that desperation, that oh shit feeling, it's something that's never going to go away, I think, as an entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
But one thing I'd like to hopefully let our listeners know about that oh shit feeling, you can turn it into gas.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Instead of just freaking out and just saying fuck this and I'm done, you got to turn that into gas.
Yes, sir.
And realize okay, how am I going to work myself out of this? Because just hearing that you turned pretty much a pyramid scheme kind of deal into this dope ass business that you're doing, you know what I mean? That's gas for me.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
And actually it was scary, man. I mean, being in that, going back at it again and reminiscing on it, it was a really scary feeling, man. And I think it was fear that kind of motivated me to do something with it. And I was like, dude, and knowing, you see your parents defeated, you don't ever want to do that. For me, I was like, I can't do that. And again, in business, bro, it's a team sports for me, because yes, I may be the guy who's marketing it, but I had my brother who knew the technical side of it, my dad who knew the electrical parts of it. So I think that goes back to, again, to life in general. You need people, right, to carry this journey. And as as they say, it's business is like being a pirate. I like having this ship and you have all these crew with you, and you're going through this scenario where you have all these monsters, trying to sink you down, and all these other pirates trying to sink you down. But you got to be able to ride the waves and have the right crew. As long as you have the right crew with you, you can survive any kind of disasters that may be. And I think that's, for me, that's an analogy that somebody gave me, and I'm always thinking about that when I'm building a business, or especially now we had a big ass wave with 2020 and we almost tipped over. But if you have the right people with you and you just have the right mindset, you let your Northern Star be your guide, and you have the right intention of providing the best service, the best product for the people in the community, you could never go wrong with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So your crew,
yes, sir,
that you speak of, it's your ship. It's you, your dad, and your brother.
So the main 4 crew first, right? Because it's a family business, right? My dad, my brother, myself, and my mom. That started with 4, just the 4 of us. And I think it was a redeeming thing for my dad, because we were separated from him ever since I was 18. He came to my life when I was 18, and he was running, a sports bar in the Philippines, and that's how he knew about karaoke machines. And I don't know, maybe it was fate or God, we were able to come back together, and he said, hey, if anything, I want to teach you guys something that your grandfather taught me, which is entrepreneurship, because I want you guys to own something. The key thing of, yes, it's good to have a job, but it's always good to own something, because it's something that, that's yours. If you own something, it's something you could pass on to your kids. It's something that you could sell if you want to. He even gave me this idea. Hey, Sid, if you're a lawyer, can you sell your lawyer job? No, that kid of yours needs to go to law school and go through the process. But if you have a business, you could straight up, pass on that business to your child, or if you want, make cash in and sell out that business, right? So he always taught me about owning something, the importance of it.
I love that.
Yes, sir.
My dad was the same way, because you talk to your friends, you talk to people you meet along the way, and everybody has such a different story.
Yes, sir.
Right? And it played such an important role in my life, the fact that my dad was always constantly making me set goals. New Year's was always big for us, because my dad, no matter what, he forced me, hey, write your goals down. Yes, and then I'm going to check in with you throughout the year. How are you achieving these goals? Not just write your goals, that's it. No, man, he was checking in with me.
Yes,
what
sir.
are you doing?
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean? And it set me up for, I don't feel like I'm successful in life yet, but it set me up for where I am and who I am now. It's just constantly this driving force.
Yes, sir.
And, just to hear that from yourself, your dad was the same with you, right? He was pushing you. My dad, obviously, he's an entrepreneur,
yes,
and
sir.
he pushed the same thing on to me. There's so many paths we can take. You can be a nurse.
Yes.
You can be a lawyer,
yes,
and it's
sir.
going to work out for you. But
yes.
this thing of entrepreneurship, it's not a science. It's so. There's just so many things you can do with it, which I love about entrepreneurship.
That's right. And I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind.
No, please.
How is the dynamics then with you and your dad? Is he still kind of that mentor mentality still? Because my dad is kind of somewhat like my business partner, but also he's a mentor, but he's also my dad. So how's that? I just want to know how.
Let's talk about it, because he's definitely my mentor still. And man, when shit hits the fan, I'm still looking to him.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And thank God for him, because I talked about this on the last podcast. You can only make so many mistakes. Are very good. Failure is very good. You need that. But how many can you make before you run out of money?
Exactly, bro.
You know what I mean?
Especially, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my dad he pulled a Michael Jordan, 2020. You know, I was the one that was missing all the shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm lucky enough that he believed in me. Like, here's the ball, dribble it out, make the plays. But when COVID hit and all that, bro, I think at the end of the day, my dad, I'm happy that he's there. And I think part of that now coming to 2021 is like, I'm more grateful. Like, that's one thing for me, like my mantra now is being grateful, man, because like I'm having somebody or someone that is mentoring you throughout that. And I think that's key in anything. You need someone that's going to be your mentor. Not necessarily your super friends, but somebody's going to tell you what you need to hear. Yeah. Like, it's like, you fucked up.
Isn't that the best part about having it? I think most dads are like that, hopefully. But especially my dad, oh my God, he has zero filter. And I think that's so key. Like, hey, RJ, you're a fucking shithead. you need to hear that all the time, especially, man, like I'll let my head get big sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I'll
sir.
think I'm the shit.
Yes, sir.
And then thank God for my dad, my wife, and my sisters to tell you, nope, you are not shit, RJ. And I think that's such a useful thing to hear in your life, man.
Yes,
But let me throw it back at you, because I've been working with my family for almost 13 years now.
Yes, sir.
It's what a roller coaster ride.
Yes.
Working with your sisters side by side every day, with your parents. I mean, like, you experience every kind of emotion. I think me and my sisters like hated each other.
Yes, sir.
We loved each other. Like, the first time I ever yelled at my dad was because of the business. Oh man,
No, that happens.
You know what I mean? What was your experience like?
You know, I think that's the one thing too, and we're still trying to figure that out too, because like, you know, during dinner time, you're thinking like in a job, you clock in and you clock out, you're done. I think with being a family business, even when, you know, even on a dinner table, you're thinking about something else or whatever. Even in Christmas time, we're talking about business still. And I think I respect that, because again, it's that kind of like intensity of like wanting to win and making it better from my dad, that it so rubs off on me, that like that mentality of like burning that midnight oil, and that just to have the discipline of like, working late and waking up early. That's key, bro. And I think that's what will differentiate you in the industry. Like, it's because especially now you have a lot of competition, but what will differentiate you is to know the small details, even that 1 inch. And I think for my dad, you know, even though it was annoying at first, like, man, we're talking about business and, you know, like during Christmas time, or even New Year's time, or even after church, it's like this boba, man, everything's blended. Like everything that we're doing when we're driving after church, you know, talk about business. Or, you know, when we're stopping, it's like, what do you think they're doing right in this restaurant? What can we implement that they're doing right? And it's always like that. He always asks me, okay, when we go to this other place, like, what do you think that they're doing right that we could somehow borrow from them? And I think that mentality of asking those questions is like, for me now, I appreciate that more. Before it was annoying, you know, they're year 1, year 2 in the business. But now you're thinking about trying to innovate all the time. And especially now these days, right? Trying to innovate, but being at the same time, being you, not losing yourself and your identity. That's key, to ask those questions, the small details.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that what you end up, or what you used to hate, you kind of end up like just accepting or loving and turning to, because 100%, man, I agree with you. Like, when we started Sassoon Seafood Center, probably like one of the toughest years of my life, because there was no switch, man. Correct. You know, and you know, actually till this day, there is no switch.
Yeah, there's no switch.
You're my family, when we're at Christmas, when we're at New Year's, we're talking about business.
Yep.
And you know, there's times where I ask myself, like, man, like, is this healthy? is this a healthy thing for myself? You know, like, because there's just, we've accepted it already. Like, we've been in the game a long time, and what our life revolves around is our business.
Yes, sir. That's your livelihood.
You kind of just learn how to be a family that way.
Correct, sir.
You know, and I've just thought, like, we've just chose a different path.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, me and my dad, That's all we talk about. We'll talk about boxing a little bit. We'll talk about the Warriors sometimes.
Yeah.
But 90% of our conversations are just about business.
Yes.
And I'm actually thankful for that because our relationship before the business, it was very like father-son.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, just working side by side with your dad, it makes you really learn who each other are. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right. And a funny story, it reminded me because we were in a vacation in Hawaii and in Hanalei Bay. And my mom was like, this is like year 5, year 6 at the business. Like, you guys have been working hard. We need to relax or whatever. So we went to Kauai, the smallest island in Hawaii. And there's a thing called Hanalei Bay. And if you're ever there, you know, you'll know what I'm talking about. So me and my dad were just talking, blah, 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 business again. At first, it was just talking about how beautiful this spot is. It's so peaceful. And then we started talking about business. And before we know it, we didn't even realize it. The water was starting to be here. And we tried to go back to the shore. And we couldn't go back. It's like the current, like what do you call it?
The riptide?
A riptide. You can't go towards the shore.
Shit.
And my dad was like huffing and puffing because he's losing air. And he's like, son, you go. Just go without me, because he was trying to be in my back. I'm trying to like swim back. And I don't know, God and faith has it. There's no lifeguard, but this guy right here comes like a tall guy, comes out there and pulled me and my dad together. And then while we were like trying to gain our breath, we looked up to say thank you. We could never see the guy anymore. And I felt like for the first time in my life, I think there was an angel.
Wow.
And I'm not BSing, and this is not some made up story. I'm that kind of guy where I need facts. But you could ask my dad, you could ask my mom. And when we go back to that and we think about our life, and it's like how blessed we are. And like, there's a reason why we're still here, you know. And we came off of that vacation. It's like, wow, you know what? Number one, we got to know our surroundings first, seeing safety. But number two, you know, whatever it is that we're doing, we're not done yet. There's a reason for it. So we came off of that vacation, I guess, you know, just more excited about life. And we're like more grateful about our life, because now we could have died, man. Me and him on that vacation, dude. Like, and the funny thing is, I looked up on Google, like a lot of folks actually die from that, like the rip currents in Hanalei Bay. And we've known people in different parts of Hawaii that actually passed away because of that, like same stuff. And then I realized, I guess, you know, I guess it's healthy to talk about business, but man, we gotta have scene safety. Talk about it in the couch or something, because when we talk business, it's intense. It's like to the point of like different scenarios. It's like dissecting, like, you know how Kobe did like dissection of like the different plays. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best thing when me and my dad talk about business. Yeah.
Well, I have more questions though.
Yes, go.
You're telling me you don't even know like the face of this guy that pulled you out of the water? Like,
I mean, at first I was fatigued, bro.
He saved your life and he said, "Peace out."
So I know he's Caucasian and he's like tall, but like I was like huffing and puffing. I was scared already.
You guys almost died.
I almost died. I was out of air. I know he was Caucasian or white and whatever, man, but he was tall, that's for sure. And he pulled me because my dad was on my back, and then he pulled me, and he had that strength about him to pull me. And I know he was not super young; he was a bit old, because I know he was a little bit, you know, wrinkly or whatever.
Wow!
But when we were trying to gain our breath and we wanted to say thank you, he's gone. And then my mom was all the way over there on the other side. It's like, oh, what happened? I'm like, Mom, we just almost died, Mom.
So white Jesus saved you, huh?
Dude, bro. And from that moment, bro, I just realized like how grateful we are, and just life, man. So many close calls in my life. Actually, that's one of those many close calls in my life. I can tell you more, but that was one of the main ones.
Wow, what a cool story. Business almost killed you. Literally, dude. I mean, for sure, if you own a business, it's slowly killing you. Yeah. It's slowly killing you, for sure.
You know, can you think about it, you know? And I was going to ask you, how do you do that with, like, you know, now you have your, you know, you're married and all that? Because sometimes my wife feels like, wow, you love the business more than me sometimes, because you're thinking about it, you know? And I think that's key to have, you know, to have a wife that understands.
Oh my God!
That have the same goals as you. But there's days like, man, I feel like I'm a mistress to your business. That's what she says to me. I'm a mistress to your business. But I wanted to ask, how do you guys do that, man?
Well, I can't answer that because I'm lucky in a sense. My wife is my business partner. She works side by side with me. So
nice.
I wish I could give advice on that, because for sure. I know for a fact it would be a problem.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, I don't know that for a fact, but it would definitely be an issue, I think, because let's say my wife was working at a hospital. She's Filipino. The odds are she'd probably be a nurse, right? So, dude, we would barely see each other.
Yes, yeah.
How would you make that work? I mean, our love is so strong. I know we would make it work, but boy, like I can't answer that, man. Because we are side by side together every day, in and out. Well, I'm moonlighting in Sassoon now, so we're not together every day anymore, but for 10 years straight.
Yeah.
We were together, and so it's definitely had its challenges, but I see it more of a blessing. Because first of all, like my wife, look at my Carla. My wife doesn't get enough credit. She is literally the brains of everything that we do. I'm not just saying that because she listens to this podcast. She really is.
Yes.
She runs our business. I am just lucky that I know how to cook. And also I'm good looking. So you know what I mean?
That helps, bro. And that's the main thing.
No, she's an amazing partner in life and in business. I guess my best guess for advice to you is make her your business partner.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a key thing too, because I think that's the main thing when and I think a lot of people who own a business and have a family, they could talk to this. There's gonna be sacrifices, long days and stuff like that. And the key thing is to have the wife, like I said, be in the business with you and understand the business, but at least be understanding. But yeah, that's definitely right now for me. We're learning that as we go. And I'm just lucky that she understands it, because when we were dating, I would bring her to the warehouse, and she knows, she understands the whole idea of it.
Smart, because she has to know what she's getting into, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but
no, that's the right thing.
Yeah,
you have to, man.
This is
who
I am.
You're marrying me. You're marrying the business.
This is who I am. Yeah, and
you have to be upfront. I had to tell her that the first day one. At the business, when we first dated, this is it.
Yeah.
You gotta be up front, man.
Like I can't even imagine what it would be like if Carl and I were not doing the same thing. It's so weird, and it's almost been this selfish pursuit. And like I've never talked about this to many people. Like halfway through working at Sassoon Seafood Center, I realized I like doing this a lot. Mm-hmm. And I want to do more, and I have to do it on my own. I have to spread my wings.
Nice.
So, I decided I'm going to do my own thing. And Carla and I were already married at the time, and I didn't even ask her, When I say selfish pursuit, I didn't even ask her. I just said, hey, this is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And looking back, obviously Carla is her own person, and she has her own like goals and personal things that she want to do, and she just said fuck it, like I'm gonna go with you on this journey.
Nice.
Which kind of like is one of the main reasons why like I'm so driven to like make this work.
Yes, sir.
I can't make this a waste of time.
Correct.
Dude, we've put in how much fucking blood, sweat, and tears now into this thing that we're doing.
Yes.
There's always something we can fall back on, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
Like my wife, maybe she won't agree with me, but she gave up her dream to follow mine.
Wow.
And just thinking about that, man, like I feel like such a fucking dickhead. But at the same time, there's so many things that have brought, to our relationship. But we're talking about sacrifice, right?
Amen to that.
Sacrifice should be your middle fucking name if you're going to start your own business.
That should be your first name when you're own a business, bro. Yep. Especially if like you're starting it as a mom and pop shop, or we're talking about like self-employed, like,
Yeah.
We're not here like Elon Musk style, but somebody just started from the ground up, like starting and doing it like one or two people first. Yeah, sacrifice is key. You're gonna be ready to work 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and sometimes working for free. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's on the book. That's the reality of life, like the reality of owning a business, because you don't see the real benefits until later, And it's like the best analogy is like, you're planting like the bamboo. I don't know if you know the story about the bamboo.
No, tell me.
So the bamboo tree, the way it works is like you have to keep planting it and make sure it has the proper sunlight every freaking day. You're not going to see any freaking progress And you just have to keep doing the same thing over and over with that same diligence. But on the year 7, that's when it will exponentially grow, and then it will have its strong roots, and then it's gonna multiply. And that's the key for me when I heard that story. It's the same thing in business or in life. Sometimes you're not gonna see the progress day by day or yearly by yearly. Sometimes it takes time, and it's gonna take patience for you to do the business. To see the real dividends, as they say. And then once you're seeing that, it's because you did all the groundwork, the daily groundwork each day. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's a reality. And that's where for me, and that's where I have that confidence, because I know I could do the diligence every freaking day. And I think that's, maybe you could say this, how to make boba more than, this because you do this every freaking day. So a guy like me could try to make a boba, but it's not going to taste like yours because you do this every freaking day. Mm-hmm. And I think that confidence goes with that because you put in the work ethic.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, sacrifice.
Yes, sir.
That's where it will put you and separate you from the rest, right? Kobe talks about that, Anyways, Kobe, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Kobe.
That I see that the Mamba mentality. I look at that in the business side of things and in life.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah. We have to use these things as motivation, right? Because life gets tough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Speaking of life and business. Mm-hmm. You just had a baby.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Yes.
This is something I wanted to talk about later on in a podcast, but this is the perfect chance to bring it up. So you've had this life-changing moment in your life. Yes. You've brought life into this earth.
Oh, gosh.
How has it affected you and your business?
Wow. Let's retract, because I think we talked about this way before.
Please.
We talked about, having a family could probably, first we were talking about this before when I had a child, right? I think having a baby and stuff like that is going to hinder you in the business. Yeah. And that was kind of my mentality too in the very, 10 years ago because I was working hard in the business. I was single, and I was willing to do 16-hour days, 7 days a week because I was single. I was I'm all freaking in, and this is all I got. That's just what's all going for me. So that's why I stayed single for the longest time. And then when I found the right one, married her, made a baby. So now I think I'm kind of, to answer your question, I think it's more more of a muse for me, more of inspiration. We talked about earlier how I want to leave something behind, for my daughter. That's the daily, for me, my daily motivation as to why. You talk about why you're doing certain things. These are the things for me, if daddy don't go to work, daddy said don't go to work and make things happen, make deals happen, install machines or sell things, then what's going to end up happening with all this sweat equity? Because I think about also the hard work that my parents did. And now they're giving me the baton, and I have to run the race for me so I can give the next baton to my daughter. So to answer your questions, blending it all in, the first 2 weeks was hard because right now I'm running on 2 to 3 hours of sleep. But that's the thing, is love is a powerful thing, because when you see your baby and has your futures, it's oh my goodness, she has my cheeks or whatever. That's me. That's me. And then that's for me, my fuel again. Talk about gas and gasoline. This is my gasoline to do things out there. Papa got to go to work and make things happen and conquer the world for you, because this is it. I got to make this happen. And I think now I understand now where my parents' perspective was. Why they were able to leave behind things from the Philippines and come over here and restart and, do the 16-hour shifts, being a nurse and all that stuff, and make a company. All these things, people don't see that. When you're a kid, you just, oh man, I don't see my mom and dad because, maybe they don't like me. But now, as a parent, you understand why they did that. But you also learn from what you want to be. I want to be there for my daughter's first dance or whatever, first recital, because, my dad, he wasn't there on my first, my first performance or whatever. I want to be present. I think, that's the key thing. Business and life, business is always going to be there. Money's money. But for me, time is a currency that you could never get back. If that's one thing that I've realized now. And you talked about how giving yourself free time, being an entrepreneur at first, you didn't want to give yourself some free time. Now I could be able to afford maybe 5 days. I could work only 5 days and 2 days for myself. Like, I really treasure those 2 days now, like, to take time for my family, because they deserve it. Like, why did we work so hard from those first 10 years, right? This is the time when, if you're doing your stuff right, you should be getting a little bit of dividends now, and at least give yourself 2 days, right? For your family. Anyways, to answer your question, I think it's become more of a motivation. At first, I saw it as, I was naive. I was like, this is gonna hinder me. I need to go fast because I need to hustle hard. I was that young guy that I needed to travel left and right, close deals in different cities, because that's who I was. I was more on speed and kill people with speed, execution. But now, I think it's making me more realize what each deal means to me. Like, when I have an opportunity in front of me, I have to analyze, is this worth my time? I'm not only looking at it as a return of an investment, what's a return of time for me as well when I look at opportunities that comes to me. So what is a return of time? So it kind of makes me more of better, business mind aspect of it, because now I'm analyzing on that different perspectives.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, of course. You have a daughter. You have a daughter?
I have a daughter.
You have a daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. Motivation, of course, man. Yes. More motivation.
Just use that. But there's days like, oh God, I'm not gonna lie to you. Is this worth it? Why?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. You're like my fourth friend that has just recently had their baby, and it's just so interesting to see the change in them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
I drive slower now.
Yeah. It's just that part of life that we're in now.
Oh, man.
Like you mentioned time. I think that's like just the chemical reaction in our brain now that's making us think like, oh fuck, I'm 35.
Not right.
What happened?
Not right.
I'm halfway through.
Oh yeah, bro.
Like,
Yeah.
time is this like stupid made up thing.
Yes.
That like man really made. It's not, but dude, we're here. We're born.
Yes, sir.
And then we do our little thing in the middle, and then we're dead.
Yes.
That's a fucking like very real feeling. Like, dude, like we have such a short time here, and that's one thing I've been especially the past couple of years I've been trying to just. It's just something that's like always. It's not even the back of my head. It's like in the front of my head right here, dude. It's constantly like you need to do whatever you want to do
sir.
now.
Yes, sir.
Now, dude, like, who gives a fuck if you make a mistake? Who gives a fuck if, it ends up like fucking you over? Like, you'll fucking bounce back.
Just move forward.
Yeah, dude. That's
right.
why, like, I'm trying to do all of this shit right now.
Just
because
do it. Execute, man. And that's why I'm so happy you're doing this, man. Because we were talking about this, and I'm happy you're doing
Thanks,
this.
man.
I'm
Thank
freaking
you.
excited that you're doing this. From that little idea that we're talking about.
There's still doubt in my head every day, but
No,
I'm not gonna let that stop me, dude.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's one thing I want. I want whoever's listening to this to know, like, oh, you know what? Okay, I'm sorry. This is gonna be a tangent, but like, I wanted to bring this up. So,
Yes, sir.
I had a friend from high school reach out to me yesterday.
Yes.
And first of all, like, I'm very honored that she would actually value my opinion, because I find that weird. You know what I mean? Like, I just cook food. You know what I mean? That's all I do. But she wanted my opinion, and I honestly, like, when people ask me for advice, I want to give them like really good advice. And when it's on the fly, I don't really give the best advice except for like, what are you waiting for? Fucking do it.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the best advice sometimes, but she asked me, like, okay, she wants to do this big thing, which is amazing, I think, in my mind.
Okay.
She's like, do you think I should do it? And I was like, I didn't even think about like the details. I was like, you should. You should do it. I'm talking about like, I don't want to put it on there, but she wants to do this amazing, huge thing where like maybe if she fails, she might lose it all.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I've had some time to analyze like what she asked me, and I still want to tell you, like, you should fucking do it, man, because like you're always going to look back and think like, fuck, dude. Because we've all had those moments like, man, I should have done that. And that's just a feeling that will never leave your body. Like, because life is too short. You know what I mean?
Man, you're making my hair go up right now.
You know,
bro.
like,
because that's so true. Like 2020 teaches us that.
yeah.
Like just a couple of weeks back, I just realized like I have one of my friends back in middle school. I didn't know about this. I just realized he passed away, bro. And he's younger than me, and he's supposed to be in my brother's wedding, which is next week. And I didn't know, me and my friends didn't know that he passed away until we reached out. And then it made me realize a couple of things like life, no, you're right. Life is too short, and like we're here and we're gone. So might as well freaking do it. And it reminds me of, one of my mentors told me, he said, the richest place on earth is not the gold mines, not the diamond mines in the world, but the graveyard. Because it's a place of unwritten speeches, unwritten books, unmade recipes, because they allowed their self-doubt and fear to overcome that, not make that invention or something that they were meant to do in this world, that while they were here, they were not able to do it. So just freaking do it. And for me to have somebody that, like, within my age who passed away, who I knew ever since middle school, like, puts more, like you said, like gasoline to me, because like we're like, just like it's like chips or just like our food. We have expiration dates. We're gonna we're gonna be a spoilage, So we better just do it, man.
Yeah, that's another. So we talked about life with your daughter, and sadly, like another thing that just kind of will change you is death, especially like experiencing a death in your family, and that's a point. Like I don't want to bring it up too much because it's so personal, but like when someone dies in your life, it's such a weird thing, especially if you've never experienced death. Like it's such a weird thing. Obviously, it's very sad, and it's something that'll never leave you ever. But when my father-in-law died 2 years ago, like, boy, it rocked me, man. And then it made you like just reevaluate. And he's my father-in-law. I was so blessed enough to have like a wonderful father-in-law. And I just feel like, once again, I feel selfish just saying that because, I can't even imagine what my wife and her brother and sisters are going through. But the way it changed me, it's unexplainable. And once again, which is why, like, here we are, I'm doing a podcast. I always wanted to do a podcast. And I just, like, if you're listening, even because I know right now the people who listen to my podcast is just family and friends. So
okay, who cares? That's how you start, bro.
Yeah, to all my families and friends, like, if there's still something, no matter how old you are and you haven't done it and you feel like you want to pursue it, you should pursue it. And then I heard this yesterday on another podcast. I thought it was beautiful. He was like, looking back 30 years later on what he did, he was talking about basketball. He played basketball and he hated it. And then he thought, for some reason, I'm going to stick through it because one day I'm going to appreciate that I stuck through this. So he's 30 years later, he's saying, no, I still hated it. So his advice was, if you hate it, stop doing it. You know what I mean? So that makes me think, like, let's say I would have went down a different path and started working for someone.
Yes.
Like, dude, man, one day you're going to wake up, you're going to be like, fuck, I wasted 20 years working for someone I hate.
Yes, sir.
And then you're going to die. And not only, there's another thing I was thinking about. I'm sorry, this is like, we're going off in a rant.
No, go for
not only do you just die, but you die, and then in about 20 to 30 years, your name is forgotten.
Yes, sir.
You're just dead.
Yeah.
I believe in an afterlife. Don't get me wrong.
Woo!
Yeah.
You see this, bro?
Yeah.
Man, you're making my, man.
But like, not only are you just dead, but the people that used to remember you, they're dead too. And then your name is gone.
Yes, sir.
Forever.
And I think that's key that we're doing this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause, like 50 years from now, 150 years from now, a random kid going through some podcast, he hears two random Filipinos talk about businesses.
I hope so. If it'll still be relevant, dude. We're doing this weird thing. I don't even know if the world's going to be here 50 years from now, dude.
No, right?
We're going to blow each other up, dude.
We're going to go to Mars, bro.
But yeah, man. I don't even know where we're going anymore with this podcast. But so by far, this is my favorite fucking podcast so far, dude. Man, dude. We need to talk about your book.
Yeah,
before we fucking start talking about aliens and God. We got to talk about your book, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Sid here is writing a book.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about it.
So, like you said, talk about like just doing it, right? I've always wanted to just write the story, right? At least for me, my main motivation is because my daughter. I've been waiting. I was told myself I was going to do this like 3 years ago. And I just, like I said, procrastinated, just never did it. And literally, we were we were on baby watch. Like my wife is gonna be due within like, within that day or 2 days. So I was like, we're just hanging out, and like whenever like her water breaks, we gotta go to labor and delivery. So I was like stuck there. I was like, you know what? Let's just start writing, and I was actually able to finish the book that was meant to be in 3 years ago into like just 2 days, right?
Whoa.
Because it was like pure focus, and I just like, I gotta do this because, again, I'm talking about this is for my daughter. Like I want her to hear the story of her dad and how her grandpa and Uncle Kenny, started this. It's just something that it was more from my perspective, but also at the same time, I was like, a lot of my friends always keeps asking me like, how do you do business and all this stuff? A good way for me to kind of tell them without repeating myself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did that. So again, the title of it is, Sweet Success. You can find it in Amazon or Kindle, but it's going to be out around March. I wanted to delay the launch of it because I'm trying to still enjoy being a brand new father. Like I told myself, this is a time where, I'm going to, take time with my daughter and do this, and then hustle it out, go back in the field around March and do the launch. But yeah, I mean, it should be around in March time. I just, I told myself in the beginning, yeah, it's going to be in January or whatever, but I had to rethink, and that's why I pulled back for a little bit. It's on editing. It's going to be in Amazon by March. It's just like I wanted to, before I start marketing it all out, I wanted to say, you know what, I want to take time. But yeah, it talks about how us as an immigrant family from the Philippines tried to achieve the American dream for us, and how, grit, perseverance, hard work, just going for it. This is our side of the story. And a lot of people don't have those voices yet, because a lot of people just focus more on the big techs, right? Like, Facebook, Elon Musk. I mean, nothing wrong with that. That they're very inspirational. Steve Jobs, may he rest in peace. But I want to have at least a voice for the people who are just mom and pop shops, man, the small business owners. And I think more than ever for me, 2020 was that testament. Like, I was like, man, you know what? A lot of businesses are going out. I better tell my story now, because this is the time. If it's not now, I just got to do it.
Yeah.
And I decided to, like, every purchase of the book goes to a charity. A portion of the sale of the book goes to a charity that me and my wife believe in, which is part of the church, which is the ANCOP, which is answering the cry of the poor. So every portion of the book that is sold, a proceeds goes to them. So it's kind of like my passion project too. So if you want to buy the book, it helps the charity too.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I just want to pick your brain a little bit about that, because I don't know what it's like to write a book. So this is something you've been trying to write for the past 3 years,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yeah.
So you kind of had an idea of what it takes to write a book?
Just a little bit, but
Yeah?
I think the hardest thing was execution and sitting down and really writing it.
Yeah.
Because my friend told me, just have an outline first, of where you're gonna go. But sometimes, like in the podcast, we go off on tangents.
Yes, sir.
So it's like which one you're writing. But I think the key thing is write it and have a deadline. Like for me, I was like, I need to get this done because my wife's water's gonna break within like the next day or so, and I better just do this now because I might not have the ability to do so because I might get busy or whatever. I just I tricked my mind to say, do it now. And I think that's a key thing, is having a sense of urgency and like having a deadline. Because 3 years ago, I did not give myself a deadline. Yeah, I'll do it maybe an hour here and there or whatever. And then you get sidetracked and life happens. And then 3 years later, you still haven't written like the first chapter.
Yeah.
So I think key thing is having an outline and just do it like anything else. Forget about like writing, for me, I want it to be all grammatically right and all that. Just freaking write it first.
Yeah.
Let it all out and then you edit later. Clean it up, clean it up afterwards. But put it all out there first and have people proofread it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just get your out. Cause like, I don't know how it feels, but it's like you're cooking something or you're making something. You need to get it out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that
Yeah.
feeling, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It's like freaking like it's this energy. I need to just put it here on the book and just get it in there so that it's like a relief. And when I was done, bro, like when I like pressed like the last chapter, it was like a big weight that was out of me. Like I was like, oh God, thank God, this is done. And now the easier part comes in, which is editing.
Yeah.
And I mean, not necessarily easier, but if you have people like friends that are good in English, because again, English is my third language. Man, I don't speak English as my primary one, so I had to ask people that edited it, and make it look professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you good on time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep
So,
going.
so you're an author.
Not really.
You,
Just a guy telling a story.
You're an author now. You're
No, I'm just
entrepreneur,
I'm just telling my story, bro.
father.
Oh God.
How have you been dealing with balance or wearing all these hats? Because one thing I'm doing right now is a shitload of things. And if I had to grade myself on how I'm doing, I'd probably give myself like a D minus.
You're doing good, bro.
No. I'm definitely getting a D minus right now. Trust me. How have you been managing all of your projects, dude? Give me advice, please.
I mean, I'm the same way, bro. I wear many different hats, and I had to compartmentalize that, and I had to let go certain things, right? I mean, it was hard. There are things that I love. There were situations that I really love, but I was like, man, like talking about return of time, right, and return of investment.
Yes, sir.
I have to look at each decisions every hour that I'm doing, that I'm spending time with, the return of time. And sometimes some of it are like for charity, and it's not gonna make me money, whatever. But for me, it was more like this is for my, for my faith, and it means something, right? So I think just being careful of your time, knowing it's like taking care of the most precious, valuable asset that you have. That's your time, brother. And if you think about it like that, you're gonna spend it wisely. It's like money. Spend it wisely on whatever is key. So that's how I'm doing it. It's like there's a lot of projects that I had to say no coming into 2021. So it's hard because I'm a guy like, yeah, let's do it all.
Yep.
But it's the whole idea of the shiny object syndrome. It's like every shiny. You're trying to, get what do you call this? Get that rabbit fast, but you're chasing so many rabbits you couldn't get one. So I think the key thing is you gotta choose that one fat rabbit, bro, and just get it. That's meant for you, or one or two, because your energy is limited. This is what I'm realizing now. Your energy is limited. Your time is limited. So you better spend it wisely. For me, that's how I say it.
Unless you're Tom Brady. I'm just kidding. God, 10 fucking Super Bowls. God damn.
I don't know how you do it, bro.
Oh my God. But yeah, so, dude, I feel like you're a doctor and you just diagnosed me. I have shiny object syndrome. No, seriously, man. I'm trying to chase too many rabbits. I really feel like that.
Yeah.
Like,
just find the ones that means a lot to you, and that's the way where you have to really think hard, bro. And really, this is the thing that's only you could say that, because that will make sense to you. I can't. You, your wife, or you could, or people within your business. You have to say that to yourself first. You have to do that.
you hear that, guys? This podcast is over. Both of you are fired. Too many rabbits. I'm just kidding. I love fucking doing this podcast.
Say, there you go.
There's one rabbit I won't let die. This is like therapy for me, man.
There you go, bro. We need this.
I need to get my fucking wife on here. She's not shy, but she hates the sound of her voice, so she refuses to come on. And I feel like that'll be my best podcast, dude.
Just do it. I think oh man.
I don't know how I'm gonna get her on, dude. I want to talk to her, but
just record her without her knowing.
dude,
Just have a conversation.
dude, our everyday conversations are like enough for a podcast alone. But
There you go.
man, dude.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about everything. Fuck it, we'll talk about whatever, dude. You know what I mean?
Please.
What do you think happens after you die?
Wow. Well, as you know, man.
I cut this out. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna leave it on. I don't care. What do you think happens after you die?
I'm a believer, bro. So
Yeah.
I'm a Catholic Christian. So
Me too.
it's funny that, because Peace, Love, and Bobo is next to St. Joseph Catholic Church, which, by the way, shameless plug, that's our first fellowship with where I hang out with my wife, now wife. During that time, I was single, she's single, and she was playing the piano for the Christian Life program for Singles for Christ. And I was like, let's go Peace, Love, and Boba. And everybody was there, and yeah, man. And I just want to say thank you, Peace, Love, and Boba, because you set the right platform for me to be able to ask her out.
There you go.
But to answer your question, I'm a believer, bro. I believe there's a heaven. I believe that, knowing like what happened to me, right? So many close calls in my life. I believe that, there's going to be angels looking for you. look, there's a God that cares for us, and there's a heaven, there's a hell. That's what I believe. I think it's doing good here while you're here. And then I think that's what drives me too in my business and everything that I do is trying to do good as much as I can. I'm not perfect. I'm just human, but doing what you can, man, the best that I can, in a daily basis, in a good way, right? I mean, it doesn't mean like I'm not gonna f up anytime. I f up here and there because I'm only human, but choosing to do the right thing as much as I can, as much as I possibly can, I humanly can. To answer your question, yeah, I believe in God. I believe in heaven. I believe that, God willing, like when I do things right here and on this earth, I go to heaven and see all the people that passed on, man.
Yeah.
I try to be. I want to believe that because people that I love, there's people that I love, like my grandmother, man. I want to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, funny thing, like when my wife was in labor, on January 6th that night, my grandma died January 6th. So it's kind of funny because that's why my daughter's name is Trinity Claire. My grandma's first name is Clarita, so we named it after her. So it's funny because it kind of turning south like on her delivery, like she had to go to general anesthesia. So I was like, oh God, what's gonna happen? Like they had to put her to sleep in general because there were some complications, and I was there praying, bro. I was like, Lord, help us here. And I had to pray to, my grandma. I was like, Clarita, and I don't know. It's like, that was her death anniversary. And I don't know, for some odd reason, when I prayed for that, 30 minutes later, the doctor comes out and says, hey, everything's good. The wife is okay. The baby's okay. I could hear the baby crying because I wasn't allowed to go inside. And like it was a normal delivery, I would be there. But since they had to put her to sleep, I was out there. But that moment, bro, like, they call it the intercession of the people that passed on, intercession of the saints. Like I pray to God and I pray to my grandmother who passed away. I was like, Lola, help, if you're up there, intercede for my wife right now. Like I think that was one of those things where I was really like felt helpless because I'm just there on the hallway looking at the clock. It's like 2:40 a.m. in the morning. And my wife is in general anesthesia, and I have my daughter that I hope that she's gonna come out okay. And I had to leave it up to my faith, bro. And sure enough, for me, I felt like it was because of those prayer, the intercession of my grandma, who happened to be that's her death anniversary that day. It all worked out. She's a healthy baby, man, and my wife is doing okay. Recovering from the stitches from the C-section, like those things like that for me. I mean, even if you're not a believer, for me, I mean, I want to believe because for me, it just puts me in a better state.
Yeah.
If all comes down to that, right? But for me, I'm a firm believer that there's a God that loves us, and He's there, and we're all gonna be seeing each other, the people that we love, later on as we pass on.
First and foremost, like I'm glad that your family's okay. That's scary.
Yeah, bro. That was one of the scary ones. Yeah.
And second, like I truly appreciate people with such a strong faith. My wife being included. First of all, I'm Catholic too. I believe in God and
peace be with you, brother.
Yeah, peace be with you. You know what I mean? But because I'm most definitely not like you or my wife. Your guys' faith is so strong, and I'm kind of at this this moment in my life. And Carla, I talk to Carla about this all the time. But where I'm questioning everything. I think it's because I'm becoming an old man.
It's fine. And I was the same way, bro.
Like, was Jesus an alien?
This is good.
I listened to too much Joe Rogan.
This is getting good.
Why is Jesus white all the time? I thought Jesus was Arabic.
Middle East.
I'm turning to this old man. But one thing I do appreciate, especially when I hear about from famous people or whoever, dude, I truly respect people who can just have this unquestionable faith. But I respect people. I really do. You know what I mean? And I don't know how it relates to business, but I want to talk about life. You know what I mean? But for a fact, no, I have no doubt, because I know for a fact, what I have no doubt about is when I die, I'm going to spend a lot of time in purgatory. That is a fact. I will not be reunited with my family right away.
No, we don't know that, brother, man. Like the whole story about that guy who was next to Jesus on the crucifixion, right? He was a sinner. He was, he was bad, but he says, "Don't forget about me when you enter your kingdom." And he's the saint of all people in prison. I forgot his true name, but Father Jeremy knows.
Yeah.
But when I think about that, I was like, oh wow, even that point, even at his last breath, because he acknowledged God and Jesus, that he's a savior. You're still saved, and I believe in that, and I want to believe in that, bro, because we're called. We're not here to judge other people. We're just here called to love. And I think, who am I to judge you, right? Like, who and other people who am like only God could judge me, like Tupac, say, only God could judge me, bro. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, man. Thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, last question.
Yes.
I'm taking up all your time. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's
I wanted to touch up on this with you. Because in your book, you write about the American dream.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we grew up in a different America. I believe that
Yes,
now.
yes,
It's
yes.
2021. We don't have to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
Our country is divided.
Yes,
I
sir.
really believe that. How do you feel about the American dream as it is today?
Wow. That's like a can of worms, but I think let's add another hour for this podcast.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
I think the America that we're in versus the America that our parents came in.
Or even you, man. You're technically your first generation, right?
Generation. Wow, good question. I mean, I think now it's apparent. It's now more apparent that there's division. Now, before, they tried to clean it up. I feel like, for me, this is, again, there's going to be people saying stuff, but this is just my point of view as a businessman, as an immigrant. This is just my point of view. I feel like the American dream is still alive. But, is there like a glass ceiling? Yes and no. But the thing is, for me, if the market likes you, the market, right? I'm talking about the people. Like, if your product or service is legit and people love it, let the market talk. It doesn't matter where you came from, bro. Like, it doesn't matter if you're from Philippines, Vietnam, or whatever. You're gonna dominate that because you're putting the sweat equity. Is there racism? We already know the answer. I don't even have to answer that, right? 2020 allows us to see that, in my opinion. But I rather see myself as a victor than a victim. Like, for me, I can honestly say, I was I profiled before? Absolutely. But, was I mad? Yeah. But, there was a point in my life where I was angry, and I let that defeat me. But I was like, am I going to have this victim mentality, or am I use this, again, let's talk about gasoline, I'm going to use this as fire so that you don't have to do this anymore. That's why I wanted to do the whole business thing, man, because I was like, you know what? I want to make something out of myself so that, my color of my skin doesn't define me, or whatever it is, or where I came from doesn't define me, but the impact that I'm creating, because I'm putting the gap of the service and the product. I'm putting, taking away that gap from that marketplace, because the market will be true to you if you have the right products, the right service, and people like it. As they say, the money talks. For me, it's like, if they like it, they like it. It doesn't matter where you come from. That's just me. Is it harder? You could take a look at it both ways, man. Some people will always say it's gonna be harder. And yes, there's some people who are luckier than others because they may have more social networks than others and social assets, as they say it. But for me, if you have that mentality of it doesn't matter where you come from, and I don't give a F, you're not going to, stop me from my dreams. It's all up to matter to you, man. I think that's where faith comes in, of what you do and having a belief and a confidence of what you put out there. And that's where, for me, that's why work ethic and sweat equity is key, because you will have that confidence to say, I make the best boba in town because I freaking put this and slay it every freaking day. It's like the whole idea of the 10,000 hours. It's like, if you put in the 10,000 hours, let's go get it. I mean, it's just a muscle memory because you know it. It's like a martial artist. He's been doing that same simple punch, but he's been doing that for X amount of times and X amount of years. It's perfected, almost close to perfected to what it is. So to answer your question about the America now, yes, it's different, but I think at the end of the day, it has to be a question to yourself: Would this put you down? Because there's gonna be always obstacles in life, right? Yes, some people are gonna have easier time because they have a daddy who has a trust fund, or they have a mommy who has networks of lawyers, or they have a brother who has X amount of funds because they're in a tech company. But if you're like an immigrant like me, a brown boy from Philippines and trying to make it up from the garage, it might be a little bit harder, but it doesn't stop you from becoming successful. We may take a little bit longer because we have to grind it out and figure out things a little bit more longer. But it doesn't matter where you come from. I think it's just the market will dictate where it likes, Because I can honestly say, in our industry, there's not much Filipinos. Like if you look at in our industry, and that was a prime motivating factor for me to want to break the freaking barrier, because they didn't take me seriously in the beginning. I was young, I was from a different country. I had a little accent, the Manny Pacquiao accent. People. It's easy to make fun of that. That's the reality, and that's where I had to be better at myself. That's why I said, okay, Sid, you have a funny accent, then that's who you are, but pronounce better, or whatever it may be, or write better, or think, talk better, market better. So I think if you keep refining yourself, the sky's the limit. And the thing is, if you're looking at playgrounds, different playing grounds, it's much more easier to make a business here in America versus, I would say, in the Philippines. Because in the Philippines, there's a lot more corruption, and you have to buy out people, right? Or you got to know the mayor or something like that, or to kind of give you access to a permit or whatever to build something. Here, like, you could get a loan from the bank a little bit easier, get something started. That's where I feel like the American dream is still alive, and I'm hopeful, and that I'm still optimistic that hopefully when my daughter's old enough, she could achieve her American dream, because this is a place where, honestly, you're like 50 years old, 60 years old, you could still recreate yourself and do another career. Like, I can see that. Like, we have people, immigrants who are their 40s, 50s, or 60s, do a totally different career. He was an engineer in the Philippines, but he's a freaking nurse here. Or he was a freaking doctor in the Philippines, but you know what? He's a nurse, but he has his own home health agency. You could recreate yourself here. That's the thing for me, about the American dream, right? There are obstacles, that's for sure, but I think it should not allow you to stop you to go going for it.
So for our Filipino brothers and sisters in the Philippines still thinking that there is an American dream, according to my brother Sid, there is.
There still is.
But in a nutshell, he says, don't be a bitch.
Honestly, wake up in the morning
and fucking grind.
And grind. And that's it. And that's going to be the differentiating factor. Is because I know I could wake up early in the morning, and I'm willing to put my sleeves out and work hard and be dirty. Like, go on the field and be dirty and do it. That's the question. And honestly, I'm a grinder. Like, I'll do it, whatever it takes, right? Like when we lost some folks, I had to go back to the basic, deliver everything as if we were starting off the garage.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be willing to do that if you're going to be successful, if you're going to own a business, right? Especially at this time for small businesses.
Yeah, you better make sure you know what you want.
Yeah.
Man, dude, it was very, very nice talking to you. Very motivating.
Thank you.
Seriously,
I hope that was helpful, man.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but you should start your own podcast. Oh yeah, okay. So before we end the podcast, we have to do Guess That Boba.
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't cut the cameras. I have to pee real quick.
Go.
But explain to him. Guess that Boba. Okay, cool. I got fucking pee.
Go for it. Whew, man, I like the spot though. I wish I know how to play Magic.
I don't know. What is that?
That's a C-stand. Yeah. Cut the footage?
You said don't cut the camera, but mine was better than
Good. Dang, that was a good hour 22.
That was an hour 22?
Yeah.
I felt like that was just only 30. Oh my God, I talked that much? Sorry, guys.
When I was drawing on my iPad for like 30 minutes. I thought it was like 7 minutes. I checked the camera was already at 48 minutes.
Time goes fast. Oh, hopefully my wife don't kill me. It's like, where you been? Podcast? I'm famous now. Is there chicks? Oh, no, man. I just got her text, get some groceries. I was like, okay. Are you guys married with kids? What are you guys' status? What are you guys married, kids? Single and ready to mingle? That's good, man. That's good, bro. Enjoy it, man. I enjoyed being single till I was 32, man, and then I got married at 33. Oh man.
I think Jello's gonna be using that for his streaming thing.
Yeah.
What is it? What is that supposed to do?
That's a C-stand.
What does it do?
It holds bigger lights or mics.
Oh, okay. Are we good? Okay. All right, brother Sid.
Yes, sir.
We have a milk tea for you.
Oh god, what kind of milk tea?
That's the game.
That milk tea?
Guess that milk tea, man. So here it is. You have 3 guesses
Okay.
to guess what it is.
Oh Jesus.
And then if you win, I give you $20.
All right. $20.
$20, brother.
Okay.
But
Do I just look at it or sip it or what do I do?
you can drink it, you can analyze it, you can pretend it's wine and swirl it in your mouth. Give it a good shake, though.
Okay, good shake.
A little cheers for the camera, my brother.
Cheers. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
No
Go
problem.
to Peace Loving Boba, you guys. Where I met my wife. So if you're single and ready to mingle, good
Yes.
spot.
You will find the love of your life at Peace, Love, and Boba. 3 guesses, my friend. Oh, you can ask me yes or no questions. I'll try to help you, but...
Okay.
Oh, how many yes or no questions does he get?
I think you gave them
5. Okay,
So
so
can
you,
I taste it first and then I'll ask questions?
yeah,
Or-
yeah.
Goodness, Lord help me.
Mine's definitely a Thai tea.
So I'm guessing there's cookies there? Cookies and cream?
Yes, there is cookies.
I guess you guys have some coffee in this?
Yes, there is coffee.
Okay. There's a boba.
Technically, you got it right. Right? No? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get more. It's like Milo, bro. You know what Milo is? in the
Yeah.
Philippines? I feel like it's like Milo in the Filipino style. Maybe I'm biased because, I've been drinking that when I was a kid. It's like Milo plus cookies and cream.
Talking to the mic. Yeah.
It's like Milo, like, the Philippine style, like chocolate Milo plus cookies and cream with a coffee in it. So I want to say a Milo cookies
So
and
his
cream.
guess is that your guess?
Yes, I'll do it.
Milo coffee cookie.
Yes.
Nope.
Darn.
You
Done.
got one. You got 2 more guesses.
Let's see. Gosh, what is this? Nesquik. This is Nesquik. The chocolate Nesquik. Cookies and cream. Damn
Nope.
it. With boba in it. Gosh. I know there's cookies there, bro. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's cookies and there's coffee, but there's like one flavor
That I'm missing.
Yeah.
Is there like Bacardi in this? Okay, I know what it is. Tanduay. I know what this is. This is
Hindi, pare.
Oh, kumusta? Kumusta? Ano to eh? Milo na merong tanduay, na merong cookies and cream.
Hindi. Hindi. That's all I know. Hindi.
RJ! Or how does your parents call you when they're mad?
Reese.
Reese? Oh,
They
yeah?
call me Reese, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Do they like say the bad word before or the after the Reese?
It's just like throughout. That's why I'm such a bad cusser.
So when growing up, what kind of mode of punishment did they use? Because growing up, I had the chinelas. That was my best friend, and
My mom was probably like, she had like these 2 favorite like spoons. They were wood spoons. Ooh, they stung.
oh man,
Yeah, it was like these wood spoons.
Nice.
She had that was her main. Either a hand, but like when I was being really bad, it was wood spoons.
And by the way, I think now I'm a dad now. I think about that stuff now too. Like, what was effective unparenting my son? You know what
I
mean?
can't tell you. I'm not a dad.
So I'm like thinking, like, what are the when growing up, what sticks now? Like the belt, or like the chinelas, the kurot, all those things, man.
This is a conversation like for the ages because parents are always gonna hit their kids.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I've come to find as we get older, people are so different.
Yes.
I think one thing I'm going to do when I become a parent is you should know your child.
Yeah.
You should know that if you have 3 kids, they're completely different.
Yes, sir.
Maybe RJ can take a beating, but Robin can't. If you don't know that, I feel like that's your job as a parent, right? But that's not the case. First of all, Robin can take a fucking beating for sure. I'm just using it as an example. Like I think as a parent, you should know your child.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Because everybody's so different. Like, I got hit. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I have a friend who, not so good.
Oh, yeah.
It ruined them.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
I think
it
it's so
traumatized
different.
them.
Yeah, it's there's no flat line. People are so different, man. It's crazy.
That's a good point that you put that. Yeah, we had this conversation. It's like, are you, when that, at that point, are you willing to hit, or what kind of, I guess, obedient, or kind of, what would you do? I feel like you're right. You gotta know your
But I'm
child
talking out
first.
of turn. I can't. I'm not a parent,
Yeah.
so I can't say. What's the boba, my friend?
I want to say it's cappuccino, cookies and cream, with a little bit of Nesquik in it.
Nope.
No, darn.
What is it?
What is it, bro?
A Mocha Loca milk tea.
Dang it.
Yeah. So what's in the mocha loco? Oh, is that cantaloupe?
The cantaloupe.
Oh, there's cantaloupe in there. That's the Bacardi you were talking about.
I knew it. I was like, man, oh man, this is good. And this is available?
Yeah,
Mocha, okay.
Yeah, is it?
it's available now.
Available now?
It's usually blended, not a milk tea.
I did that to throw people off.
Sorry, man. You don't get $20, but I'll still give you free drinks.
No, that's good, man. I think I'm just gonna buy this. Usually I go for you guys the taro milk tea. That's my favorite for you guys with a little shrimp ball.
Yeah.
And
Fish
then,
balls.
yeah,
Lobster balls.
Yeah, there you go. A fish ball.
Well, pare, salamat.
Maraming salamat, pare.
Oh, wait, just real quick. Ask me a couple questions to Tagalog. This will be
Yeah.
fun for the thing. Pare, kumusta?
Okay lang, bro. Ikaw, ilang taong ka ba?
Pwedeng Tagalog? Pwedeng
Pwede.
Pwede? O sige.
Okay.
Nanong balita? Oh, that's kapangpangan na.
Okay lang. Ikaw,
Okay.
Kumusta?
Ako?
Oh,
Okay na. Busy ako.
busy ka.
Trabaho.
Oh.
Life.
Oh.
Ikaw?
Okay lang, men. Trabaho lang. Anong kinakain mo?
Ako?
Kinakain? Ikaw?
Siyempre, kanin. Nilaga.
Yan ang favorite na pagkain mo sa restaurant nyo?
Ako?
Anong favorite na niluluto mo sa restaurant nyo na gusto mo rin kainin?
Siyempre, sushi.
Oo.
At saka ang Filipino food, di ba? What about you?
Sa Peace, Love, and Boba, like I said, gusto ko talaga yung shrimp balls nyo. Kahit ilang dosena, gusto ko yon. Tapos yung with the sriracha nyo. Tapos yung...
Gusto kong ang burrito ko.
Ano yon? Yung steak yon?
Gusto kong ang burrito ko.
I think we're gonna edit that out.
Yeah,
Gustong gusto ko.
Oh,
Gano'ng
funny.
kalaki yung burrito? How long, gano'ng sila kalaki? Mga 1 feet?
Ang burrito ko?
Yung ginagawa mong burrito. Gano'ng kalaki yun? Gano'ng
Mga
kalaki?
8 inches.
Grabe. Ang laki. Grabe ang laki.
Mga 8 inches on a good day.
Daming steak yun, bro. Masarap yun.
Siyempre. Ang big boy ko, di ba?
Tubong Amerika to, bro. Imported to, bro.
American dream, di ba?
American dream.
This is America. Good.
Oh Lord.
Shit. Thank you, man. Thank you. Let's end it there, dude. That was so fun. Oh, dude. We got a new segment. We should have a podcast